I'm okay.
You're crazy.
We're out of the room. Your turn, cop.
So I super like this scene. So they are about to do a backflip.
There's some kind of game to you?
Ready for a backflip?
On three.
3!
So I like this scene here. So basically what's happening is that you have David Bell, and you can see he's standing there, right? So he's putting his hands up, his head backwards, and he's bringing his knees up. So this is exactly how you want to do it, backflip. Pollock on the opposite side, right? He's doing a different technique, which is called a cheat backflip, or like a beginning backflip, right? So what he's doing, he's not pointing his head backwards. He's looking sideways over his shoulders to make sure that he's always in touch with the ground, right? He wants to see where the ground is because he's not confident enough that he's going to land, right? So it's kind of like in a safety kind of way. So he's pointing his hands sideways, right? The reason for that is like he thinks in his mind at the time that, you know, if I fall, I'm going to put the hand down and I'm not going to fall that badly, right? So this technique is not going to end up well. If you do this, I'm going to show you exactly. You see, he's starting to twist, because if you twist your head sideways, your whole body is going to twist sideways, right? So this is the way you'd use if you want to do a spin backflip, right? So if you want to do a spin backflip, what you do, you start jumping and then you put your head backwards and you bring your right hand on the side to create a twist. But what he's doing is trying to prevent the falling, right? So he's gonna turn around, but he doesn't have enough energy to turn all the way up, and he's gonna fall on his left knee. From this position right here, I assume he's gonna fall on his left knee, right? And in this next shot, I assume that they use the stunt double, right? Because in this shot, you can see the technique is properly executed. Right, so they are on a high point. They're supposed to be making a jump here. This is exactly what you do in this situation. You're trying to measure the space you have to run for this particular jump, right?
Hey, stop that.
This is super cool.
Hey, this is a bad idea.
Don't think. Jump. All instinct.
So you can see here he has a proper technique. I super love about that. This guy is super cool, right? So he starts from 1 foot, and then he's bringing one knee up to proportional energy forwards, and he's bringing his hands up as well. So basically starting with hands down and bringing his hands up to gain energy, right? And then you can see he's putting his hand together and he's bringing the left knee as well to the jump to have like a pointy kind of shape to use the best the energy that he has. You know, in this angle from here, it kind of seems that he's gonna make it, but I doubt it. At this point, he reached his highest altitude of the jump, right? As you can see in this shot, I don't think he's halfway. He's not halfway through the shot, right? So when you're making a jump from point 1 to point 2, right? You want to go a bit higher, and you want to reach your highest altitude, like 70%, maybe 8% to the jump, right? Because after you reach your highest point, you're gonna start falling super, super quickly. Right, so you want to be reaching your highest point, which is going to be above your landing point, and then when you start decreasing, you're just going to aim for the landing point, right? If you're reaching the highest point in the middle, you're not going to be able to make the jump. So my assumption for this scene is that they made a jump from this point, and they have like a safety net installed at the bottom. So they film the first half of the jump, and then they cut this scene. When he was like probably on the wire, he was continuing to slide forward to the destination, right? And another cool thing here is that, you know, when you are working professional, this happened to me at the beginning as well. You see somebody doing something and that person makes it look super easy. And you think, okay, I can do it as well. And you try it as well, you get hurt super badly, because just because somebody is super good at something and that person makes it look easy, that's not means that whatever he's doing is easy, right? And he's doing a very bad technique. So the first thing you can notice here, which I don't really like, is that he's starting super far away from the edge, right? So when you are making a jump between two buildings, you want to start from the latest moment possible, right? You want to put your foot on the edge. So he's jumping like I think a meter away from the edge, which is it's a super big disadvantage for longer jump, right? So what he's doing, you saw before how David Bell did it, right? So what he's doing is just like it's a scare jump. This is how we call that. So you don't put your hands up, you don't raise your knees up, you don't use the technique. You're just like trying to minimize the risk, right? So I don't know. This is how people do it when they don't know what they're doing. The next movie we are going to watch is called Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time.
A prince of Persia.
Remind me why we're disobeying your brother's orders?
I love this scene. This is super cool.
Because Garcev only knows how to attack head-on. It'll be a massacre. The Alamusians will be busy with the main gate, so we'll slip through the side.
Look, I'm super doubtful that somebody from that distance can shoot an arrow with that precision in the night time. I know the light there is not natural. They kind of increase the light to have like to increase the visibility, but I kind of doubt that somebody would have that much of a precision.
Have you been drinking?
Yep, so this is totally possible in real life, but it doesn't look as cool as you can see in this one, right? So what they did, they probably put a wire on top and then took like 80% of the weight of the actor, and he was just supposed to use some sort of weight and effort to make it look real, right? Again, the same type of jump, so I assume probably the actor did, not the stuntman. So you can see, it doesn't quite look like a parkour guy, right? So if you jump properly, you'll have your knees bent together, and then you have to try it, and your hands up, right? But this guy does not. So I assume he was like a wire who's holding him from the top side. He's just like leaning on. I mean, this jump is possible that he did, but you wouldn't do it this way, right? You have to have a proper technique. This guy doesn't have a proper technique, right? So I'm not 100% sure about this one. He did basically a wall flip, right? So he puts. So how we do a wall flip? This is a wall, right? I'm right towards it, and I step once on it, and then I turn back. I do a backflip, right? Or I step twice on it, and I do a backflip. Or how many times you want, right? He did it with both feet. So basically, he jumped forward with both of his feet on the wall, and then he did the flip. And that's not even the part I'm worrying about. The part I'm worrying about is that he did it on top of the door, right? So this door here is human size, and he jumps on top of the door, and then he did the flip from that point. So he jumps from the floor, as I can see, right? He doesn't have any sort of step, like higher ground from which he's starting. He's grabbing something with his hands, but in the next shot, you see him here. So what I'm supposed to make from this one is that he grabbed something from that and then put his both feet on top of the door, and then he did the backflip. The next movie we are going to talk about is called Quantum of Solace, and I'm a very big Bond fan, so I'm super excited about this one. Okay, cool. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, this is exactly, this is kind of accurate. This you do. So basically, you're sleeping from a rooftop, right? The first thing you try and find is like a grip, but if you don't have a grip on time, you have to make like a super fast decision. So you have to jump the other way. So he did this properly. He saw that there is a possibility to land on the other way, so he just jumped it. So this is the way you jump. Some people say that you should jump with your hands front, but you don't do that. So basically, you put your shoulder on the impact area because it's super small. You know you're gonna have to impact it, so it's kind of doing it properly because it's protecting his organ and also his head. I don't really get the jump. Yeah, probably they're trying to make it look like he broke table, but from this position, I can't see how he would land with his elbow on the table. 100% what we do, I would just land on the table. Look. So presumably, table is on his elbow now, so he's on his knees. So that was a terrible landing, right? He's like, yeah, he was on his knees. You never, no matter how small is the jump, you never want to land on your knee. This is the worst thing you can do. Oh, ouch, ouch, ouch. Right, so what he does, like he's on this point, right? He was supposed to be jumping from the starting point to the landing point, right? He saw he cannot make this jump, so you have to jump with your hands forward. As you can see this shot here, see he's jumping with the hand forward. That's cool. That's good, right? You catch, you have a grip on the top, and then you're gonna climb up, right? The thing that he does wrong, and is that he doesn't put his feet forward as well. So he's landing with his whole body on the surface, right? So you have a lot of impact because when you basically you jump, you're in this position right here, so, or a bit like that. You catch your hands here, and then your whole body is gonna follow, right? So the impact is gonna be super big. Also on your torso, you don't want to do that. You might break some ribs, and you're gonna hurt your knees super badly. Ouch! I would say from this angle here, I say that he broke a couple of ribs because there was a very big margin there, and he hits his ribs super hard on that area, right? So on the realistic scenario, on a realistic war, I would say that he broke a couple of ribs.